advertising of those things that we do not need. Then I would issue reindustrialization bonds so that people can invest in these new projects that would supply the wherewithal for our society so that we can ensure a prosperity and a standard of living for all the people in our country. Next, I would double the research efforts. We need a very specific commitment to our universities, to our private sector research, to the creative genius. Where is the Thomas Edison and the Marconi of 1980 that will invent the new era technologies in health science, in preserving the quality of our environment, in alternative energy, in mass transit, in information technologies that can revolutionize the world and make this planet a very small global village where we begin to sense that we are part of an interconnected family on a very small speck in this universe. An increase in our research. Next, I would call a North American summit with Canada and Mexico to lay the framework for a North American economic community. We are the richest, most secure region on the planet, but we must begin, and we must begin to work together as a common market. Next, I would call an international forum whereby the developed countries of Europe and Japan and America, the richer countries, can draw up a partnership arrangement with the poorer, lesser developed countries, and we can exchange our health science capacities, our technology, our energy, our know-how for their raw materials, and together, in a cooperative effort, creating a new economic order in this world, we can lift all of us. Instead of a separation, we would cooperate to the advantage of all of us, instead of this retreat into selfish, protective barriers that will make us all the poorer on this planet. And finally, I would reestablish the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps that Roosevelt started in the 30s, because I believe that is what is needed, not a draft. What is required is to re-interest the young men and women of this country in our future. And we do that by offering them an opportunity of voluntary service to restoring our environment, planting the millions of trees in the acreage that lies empty at this point, working in the cities, a domestic Peace Corps for the young to assist the elderly, to work in the rural areas, an opportunity of service, of camaraderie, of esprit de corps, of discipline. And were this country ever to be threatened, I would feel far more confident of a youth of the nation that has learned service in a program to build, and not some draft bureaucracy that will only alienate. Finally, I want to talk about energy. Now, energy is not an easy problem. It's been with us. We've all talked about it. I want to give you some specific points on how to deal with it. First of all, I'm not going to suggest a 50 cent or $1 or any other kind of tax on the gasoline. I think we have to have sacrifice equal, and therefore a rationing program that will affect the rich, the poor, and everyone in the middle. 5% of this world's population, which is what we are, cannot continue to consume 30% of the oil resources of the world. So we've got to cut back, and we cut back immediately with a fair, equitable coupon rationing method. Secondly, I would ban the importing of foreign oil by any private company. These oil companies are getting oil from governments, and therefore we should establish a U.S. buying authority to channel oil imports, government to government, so that we can get the best possible price and we can deal in a straightforward, above the table manner with these foreign countries, rather than manipulating the spot price as some of our multinational oil companies tend to do. Next, we're going to need foreign oil for a while. There's no doubt of it. We want to try to overcome it, minimize it, but in order to assure a stable supply and a stable price, I would enter into long-term contracts with Mexico or Saudi Arabia or Venezuela, and I would make this bargain: hold down the price of oil, guarantee us a secure supply, we'll use less, but we will pay you in dollars that we guarantee will be as good as gold. If our inflation goes up, we'll hold you harmless. You know that when you sell us your oil, you're not exchanging it for dollars that lose their value at the rate of 20% a year. That's no bargain, and because of that, they have to keep raising their prices even higher than they would have. And we have to recognize that we, as well as they, are part of the problem. And if we cooperate by controlling our own inflation, we can also control the price of that oil. Finally, I want to make a commitment, a 7-year commitment to end this energy waste. We waste between 40 and 50% of the energy we consume. There are people that are telling us to build more and more power plants while we are yet wasting, in the mind of the Harvard Business School, 40%, in the eyes of others, 50% of the energy we produce. That's profligate, it's scandalous, it's unnecessary. And over the next 7 years, if we mobilized, if we had a program of retrofit, weatherization, retooling our factories, our businesses, and our homes, we could cut that waste in half. And that would be jobs, it would protect our environment, it would be energy sufficiency. And we could pay for it by having the utilities finance that work, which would be conservation, rather than some of these centralized power plants that are dangerous to the environment, carry very few jobs, and take 12 years to construct. Conservation is ready the moment you put it in. Next, I would want a full-scale commitment to cogeneration, the recapture of waste steam, to small-scale hydroelectric plants, to solar, to photovoltaics, to all the alternative energies. Not many people are aware of the fact that we waste more steam in this country leaking out of factories than is generated in all the nuclear power plants presently operating. And if we were to turn the pricing structure around so that utilities would buy back the surplus power that farmers can generate by small-scale hydroelectric plants, that communities can generate, that factories can make by putting technology, boilers and generators and turbines on their own processes, we can generate at least 50,000 megawatts of electrical power without in any way hurting the environment, increasing the number of jobs by tens of thousands, and diversifying our energy sources. Decentralization, not putting it more and more in the hands of the few, but spreading it out so that we all participate in our own energy future. Next, mass transit. When I look to another country and I see they have a train, they call it a bullet train that goes 120 miles an hour. I know we can do the same thing if we had the commitment. We could have a train that could go from Milwaukee to Chicago at 120 miles an hour, maybe faster, and could go from one city to another. We have the power. We have the power if we want to, if we make the commitment, and if we take the funds by cutting out the MX missile. We'll have $100 billion to finance that mass transit for people. And we can do the same thing with fuel-efficient cars. We can make a car that'll get 60 miles to the gallon if we want. If the government and the 3 automobile companies and our scientists and we pull together, we can do it. And in that fashion, we will reduce our dependency on foreign oil and create our self-reliance and make America a stronger country.
Okay, can you move forward? Hi, Governor Brown. Good to see you again. I'd like you to comment on what you do about the ERA and why you'd be a better president than the other candidates.
Very simply, I would take all the recalcitrant legislators who have been voting against that ERA and bring them to Washington and keep them there until I could change their mind. And I think I could do that. But why would I make a better president? The best answer that I could give you is to tell you just something about myself personally. You've heard about ideas, you hear about specific programs. I want to tell you just a little bit about me, what I've done, and then you judge. When I was a kid, I didn't get too interested in politics, but my father, as some of you may know, was the district attorney. He became the attorney general in California. And every day at the dinner table, we'd hear politics. I learned about it. And I often didn't see my father. He didn't come home too many times in a week. He went out almost every night in doing his work as politics, district attorney, attorney general, doing his work. And I, quite frankly, didn't like politics. I didn't like all the handshaking. I didn't like all the smiling, all to have to stand there and have my picture taken and look like I enjoyed it. Well, I didn't enjoy it. And so I decided that I would seek a different way of life. I wanted to become a priest. And I went to the Jesuit seminary for 3.5 years, and I was trying to find out a very different way of life. I really thought things were too materialistic. I wasn't interested in the outside. I wanted to find out what was inside me. I wanted to find out the meaning and the quest that I was on. I wanted to find God. I really didn't want politics. And so I went there, and for 3.5 years, I trained in a program that if I had stayed, it would have lasted 13 years. But I learned a great deal. We had to wait on tables, had to clean toilets, sweep floors, work out in grape fields, maintain silence. No magazines, no television, none of that. Isolation. And as I learned that, I developed a commitment to try to be of service. And I found out that it isn't just within, it's without. And I left that seminary and I went out to the university and I went to law school and I came back and I joined the opposition to the war in Vietnam. I ran for Secretary of State and governor. I began to come back and I took those skills that I learned from my father and I applied them in California. And I've worked there for over 5 years in a state that if it were a country would be the 8th largest state in the world. And because of that, I believe I have the skills. I believe I've got the know-how and I've got the will to mobilize this country and to bring it back to that level of pride and self-reliance and independence that I know that we can all possess. And so let me just conclude with this one thought. Much of what we have, all of what we have, certainly we have inherited from our parents. But let us look at it and view it as something we borrow from our children. And as we look to the future, let us pledge our allegiance to that future. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and good night.
Okay. Go ahead. You got a camera going?
Okay, thank you very, very much for being here with us, and thank you for your cooperation. It's gone much, much better than we even could have dreamed of, and we thank you for